Atletico Madrid had not beaten Barcelona at the Camp Nou since 2006, when Fernando Torres was a star, so history would say that Barcelona should be the favorites. Yet, the drama of the last few days and the potential rift between Quique Setién and the players meant that Barcelona felt like anything but the favorite. Diego Simeone's side doesn't feel as strong as previous seasons, but they still came into this match in third place and had eliminated defending champs Liverpool in the Champions League. This one was always going to be ugly, and that's exactly what it was. But I'll do my best to break down Barcelona's 2-2 draw with Atletico Madrid in this Barcelona podcast YouTube exclusive. Simeone has a system, and he didn't go with any surprises. Carrasco out on the left wing, Marcos Llorente as the other attacker next to Diego Costa. Call him a secondary striker, whatever, but it has worked for both Llorente and the club this season. Simeone went with a 4-4-2, again, no surprises, and with Coque out, Angel Correa was selected on the right wing. Since Puig got the start alongside Busquets, Rakitic, and Vidal, this meant that Barca was starting with something entirely new today. It seemed pretty clear that Puig was instructed to stay central, using Busquets as his outlet behind him. It felt at times like it was a 4-1-3-2 with Busquets the deep midfielder, but truthfully, it was a diamond midfield with Puig as the attacking midfielder, and Rakitic and Vidal often just as deep as Busquets. It was interesting to see how open the game was prior to the first cooling break, including both the goals, which we'll get to later. The match was off to a good start for Barca, when Puig delivered a terrific ball over to Suarez, who just didn't get enough on it. Suarez even provided the 20-year-old an apology for the mishit. But Suarez wasn't the danger man in this game. It was Yannick Carrasco, whipping a ball in that couldn't find anybody in the 6th minute, obviously winning the 2 penalties, and in the 24th minute, I think the why Carrasco was so dangerous was on display. A minute before, Messi was the victim of a rough tackle. Then he turns the ball over, and Carrasco was again off to the races. This was on Messi, sure, but the issues persisted for the whole game. Vidal and Semedo were just not precise enough with their passes, too many mistakes as they were the ones that are tasked with supporting Messi on the right side. They have to defend for him if he turns it over and spread things out to give him space. And there were just too many breakdowns, at least in the first half. In the second half, it was much better from both, and Semedo was cleaner on the ball and stretched the field at a much better rate. Vidal, meanwhile, made a number of runs into the box in the second half, as Barca got more and more desperate. But where was that earlier? Their best sequence came in the second half. Quick thinking by Vidal after a foul finds Semedo in behind, and Vidal makes a long run and almost scores a golazo. Again, where was that in the first half? I know we still need to talk about the goals, but let's do the substitutes now. In the 63rd minute, Sergi Roberto came on for Rakitic with the match tied 2-2, and while he didn't do too much, he wound up moving back to Busquets' spot when he came off in the 85th minute, but he still did offer a bit more than Rakitic. In the 68th minute, it doesn't lead to anything, but his late run into the box is an important thing to note. The desperation I mentioned is part of it, but this was the first run made by the left midfielder into the box, straight at the goalkeeper. This movement matters. It keeps the opposition guessing, and I wonder if this helped open up space for Vidal with his runs into the box later on. Between the Roberto sub in the 63rd and Fati in the 85th, Simeone made 4 subs. Griezmann came in for Vidal in the 90th minute, but what was the point by that time? This is from the 74th minute. Legs were clearly tired. It was time for subs. Where were they? I think Quique Setién is going to get proper criticism for this lack of initiative. I guarantee Francesca and I will be talking about the difference that Puig makes on tomorrow's podcast and what that selection did mean for Setién, but the counter-argument is that it also took an injury to De Jong and a nonsense transfer of Archer to get Puig the minutes that he is more than earning. So for now, let's talk about the goals. I give a lot of the credit on the Diego Costa own goal to Sergio Busquets, even if it didn't touch him. He battled Thomas Partey on the near post on the previous set piece, and the referee wasn't calling the foul for the overt physicality between the two. So why stop? He set up in the same spot, and I think his height makes this difficult for even Costa to see, which means Oblak probably couldn't see it at all. I think the reason that Barca very rarely try corners like this is because of the risk of being caught out on the counter, but it's good to try every now and again. A few minutes later, that was all for naught though. Carrasco blows by Piqué because the Catalan defender gambled by going to ground. Vidal couldn't catch up either, and Carrasco goes down when Vidal leaves a foot in. Of all the controversy in this match, this was a clear decision. This run by Carrasco highlights the fundamental issue of having older players in the midfield and the back line. The Atletico counter came off a long ball intended for Messi, and when that doesn't work out, Barca are caught out. Ter Stegen unfortunately does take a step off his line while saving Diego Costa's penalty, and gets a yellow card. But after plenty of Barca complaining and a yellow for Piqué, Saúl converts on his second penalty out of 3 on the season. Speaking of penalties, Barca probably didn't deserve their second one. The way this game was going, Semedo goes down rather easily, and it's almost the opposite thinking from the old saying that if it's a foul outside the box, it's a foul inside the box. This time it probably wasn't a foul outside the box. but it was a penalty in it. Either way, Messi makes it 6 for 6 from the penalty spot in the Liga this season, number 700 in his professional career and 630th with Barcelona. He waits for Oblak to make his move to his left, and Messi gives us a Panenka for his historic goal. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get the 3 points, because another soft penalty is awarded, this time to Carrasco because Semedo's knees made contact with his foot. The Belgian felt the contact and went down, and I think that one was diving. At least it was when referees were cracking down on simulation, but I guess in 2020, this is a penalty. Saul converts his second of the game even though the German goalkeeper got a piece of it. This game felt winnable, and in the end, it wasn't to be. Once again, Setién had the right game plan. Let Puig create in the middle with Vidal and Rakitic supporting the fullbacks, and Busquets always directly supporting Puig. It still felt like a game that needed a winner, and when the winner never comes, we definitely start to look at the 90 minutes from Luis Suarez. But I think this might be the case with any striker. Now La Liga is probably done, but the Champions League isn't, and I guarantee this team will have a few more hills and valleys before then. In the meantime, I hope you come back here for match reviews and more, and give a listen to the podcast tomorrow where Frances and I will be talking about all the drama inside and outside of this game. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure though to give this a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell for more notifications. And as always, until next time, Forza Barça.